to The Source with Andrea Lawful Sanders on WURD Radio. Streaming live on WURDradio.com and the WURD Radio app.
Welcome back to The Source on WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media, on air and online at WURDradio.com. If you were just joining us, I am Andrea Lawful Sanders, your host on Mondays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays from 1 to 4 p.m. We are broadcasting live today from Oak Street Health at 6232 Market Street. I am having a ball, child. Between interviewing folks on my regular broadcasting today, I've been running out to the mobile screening van from the Sidney Kimmel Center for Jefferson Hospital, and I put it up on my Facebook page and tagged WURD Radio so you all can see what it is that's happening, and you can go and have your mobile screening done for your breast cancer research. Black women are dying at an alarming rate because we're not going to get our screening done. So I'm moving right along because this next guest, you all know, if you don't know, what Mother likes to talk about children. I love young people, and as such, you know, I have them on the air, and I have people on in organizations that work with young people and the elderly. Those are my two favorite. I'm not even folks in the middle. I can take you or leave you, including myself. But I love young people. So I have Keisha Jordan, who is a dedicated nonprofit leader with 22 plus years of experience in education, advocacy, school administration, human resources, staff and volunteer training, and fund development. She joined Children's Scholarship Fund Philadelphia in March of 2020 to serve as the organization's executive director. She joined CSFP from Girl Scouts of Eastern Pennsylvania, where she served as Chief People Officer. So good afternoon. It's good to see you.
Good afternoon, Andrea. Thank you so much for having me on today.
Oh, you are so welcome. So listen, tell us about the Children's Scholarship Fund of Philadelphia. Who do you serve? What do you do and who do you serve?
So we are the largest kindergarten through 8th grade private school scholarship program in the state of Pennsylvania. So we provide families who are looking for a tuition-based school with the opportunity to receive a scholarship from us. We award partial scholarships for students going into kindergarten through 8th grade. And families who win our lottery, we award through a random lottery process, then get to select from among 160 different partner schools. So they can really have the power with our scholarship to select the school that best fits their child. Our families primarily are living in the lowest performing public school neighborhoods in the city of Philadelphia. And so they're looking for safe, quality schools. And I'm just so proud to be part of an organization that's there to help.
So I know I can't know everything, but why did I not know this? This is like a gem in the middle of an oasis, because in the middle of a desert, really, not an oasis, in the middle of a desert, because people are complaining about the school systems, and some folks just are at their wits' end with no other choices. Are you telling me there's a fund that will not only give them a partial scholarship to go to the private school of their choice from 160 different partner schools? Is that what you just told me?
I did. And, you know, we've been around for 20 years, but, you know, we're trying to get the word out more so that families know about us. So thank you for helping me to spread the word.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, the only thing I would say, Andrea, is that, you know, we're a nonprofit and, you know, we're just limited by how many scholarships we can give every year. But we're serving almost 5,900 students this year. And we are starting the application process. So this is a perfect time for you to give me the opportunity to share. And, you know, I can share a little bit about the process.
Yes, please tell them, give them the name, dates, phone numbers, online, web presence, everything that they need to know to get their child, get an opportunity for their child.
Yes. So now is the time to apply for a scholarship for next school year. So families have to live in Philadelphia. They have to meet our income guidelines because we really aim to help the families who need the support the most, families who otherwise could not afford private school without our help.
And what are those income guidelines so people have an idea before because Black folks don't usually trust, you know, so you got to tell them what the income guidelines are.
Yes. So if you go onto our website at csfphiladelphia.org and you go to apply, you'll be able to see the guidelines. So it's it's a little bit of a matrix. So it depends on how many people are in your household and what your income is. But to give you just an example, you know, a family of 3, household of 3 would need to have income below about $61,000.
Okay, that's doable.
Yeah,
That's
so
doable.
average household income for our families is $40,000 a year. But we really target families who need it the most. So what a family would do if they have a child, up to 3 children in a family can receive a scholarship for next school year. So if your child's in K-8 next school year, start now. If you apply for a scholarship right now on our website, csfphiladelphia.org, then you will be entered into our lottery, in our priority lottery. And that's really the key. If you apply by November 15th online, no fee, it's easy, just, you know, filling out some contact information, you will find out by December if you received the scholarship. If you miss that deadline, we do another lottery in March, right at the beginning of March. Once the family receives that great news, again, up to 3 children in the family, scholarships are up to $3,200 per year. And we do help with the process of selecting a school. We give them that list of schools, help families think about, do they want religious education, single sex, whatever their desires are. And then they can use the scholarship to enroll at that school.
Wow. So you told us that families should expect to win $3,200, correct?
Up to
$3,200. Okay.
Yep.
What is the average cost of attending these schools?
Good question. So, you know, average tuition for our schools, for the schools that our families attend and what our families pay, is somewhere around $5,000 per year. So, you know, a lot of times families are selecting the smaller neighborhood Catholic schools or other schools, and the tuition is more affordable with our help. Our scholarship for either $1,200, $2,400, or $3,200. And the most exciting thing that I'll tell you, Andrea, we just announced a couple weeks ago, our scholarships to date have been 4 years in length. So you had to reapply after 4 years. We now eliminated that barrier. So if a family had, let's say if you've got a 4-year-old right now entering kindergarten next September, you will receive a scholarship from kindergarten through 8th grade without ever having to reapply.
Yes,
we're very excited about that.
Oh, wow. Because I was going to ask you, how often do they have to reapply?
They don't now. And so, you know, what we found was that that was a burden for families to have to think about, what am I going to do after 4 years?
If I don't get into the lottery, right.
Exactly. So we eliminated that barrier. Families do have to provide us with their income every year. So they have to show that they still qualify, give us your tax return, but there will be no reapplying. So families can have the confidence of knowing my child will have a scholarship through 8th grade.
Yeah, that is absolutely awesome. My oldest son just gave, well, not him, his wife just gave birth to twins, a boy and a girl. And I was with them this past week, and he says, Mom, what am I going to do when it's time for them to go to school? He said, because if the schools aren't right, we want to put them in private school, and it's going to feel like a mortgage. So it's nice to know that there are programs like CSF out there that can help people. Tell me why you ended up joining this space. What is it about this organization that drew you?
So I've known about this organization since I started my nonprofit career in 1999. I'm dating myself a little bit. But I was involved with another scholarship organization called the Black Alliance for Educational Options, or BAO, that also provided scholarship and advocacy for families. So I worked in schools and nonprofit organizations. I worked at Boys Latin, a Philadelphia charter school, for a number of years. So this has mostly been my space. I worked for a few years at Girl Scouts of Eastern Pennsylvania, also youth development. So it's really a passion for me. But I'll tell you, Andrea, you just said you're a parent. And, you know, once I became a parent, and I had to make those decisions for my 2 daughters, you know, for my husband and I, this was the most important decision that we had to make. And, you know, we made sacrifices. We actually moved for the right school. It's number one. And so to be able to give other families that power to
Mm-hmm.
also make those choices for themselves is just really meaningful to me. I love this work.
Thank you for sharing that. It's important that people knew that part. Here's my question, though. We were talking about the violence in Philadelphia. Can you share what's going on with your families as a direct result of the violence in Philadelphia?
Yes. Our families are often living, unfortunately, in neighborhoods where there is violence. One of our scholars was a student who was unfortunately, the victim of violence and who perished as a result of it. And so, we hear over and over from families that not only are they looking for a high quality academic program, but also a safe school option. And so we survey our parents every year. We ask them, what can we do better? And the number one reason they say that they love their schools is safety. It's not even academics anymore. That's number one. And, we each year, as we offer new scholarships, we keep track of families who say, you know what, I've had a scholarship for a couple of years. I'm going to decline this year. I'm doing something else. And so, we ask them why as much as we can. And, to date, we're still processing data, but to date this year, we have seen double the percentage of families who said, no, thank you. I don't need a scholarship because I'm leaving the city, and their reason is safety. And I hate that. I hate that, families have found a great school option, but the safety issue is keeping them away. So I just said yes to joining a group that's, thinking about violence in the city and trying to look for solutions, because our families are affected, and, I want them to be happy and safe in their neighborhoods. We all should have good school options and feel safe.
That concerns me. It concerns me, and I worry. I was talking to a family member of one of the young men who turned himself in for the shooting in Roxborough.
Babies, they are.
Babies. And this family member said to me, we live in a rough neighborhood. I lost a child to gun violence. My family members now that are getting caught up in this. And she said, if we had lived in a neighborhood where all we saw were parks and trees and merry-go-rounds and whatever else, that's what we would ascribe to. She said, but all we see every single day when we get up is the violence around us, and our children are being pulled into the violence, and we're asking for help, and we're trying to figure out, and and when I think about those things, I remember when my children, just like you, when my children were being born, I was living up in Sellersville, and I started looking around to see where would be a good school district. Sellersville didn't work out for me because I didn't see not one black family, and I'm like, I'm not doing that to them. And so I was down going to Abington Hospital because I had high risk pregnancies because of hypertension, and I started looking into the Abington neighborhood, and that is where I landed. And from kindergarten through 12th grade, that's where they were. They got a good education. They were safe. They were riding their bicycles certain times in the evenings. I didn't have to worry about whether they were being shot at. If they were not, they knew all the police officers in the community. They were part of the DARE program. And, and I did not move. We stayed in that district because I knew they were safe. They have now both graduated from college. And, it's the one thing that I can say, that I made that choice for them before they were even born. And folks, when you have an option and you can take the option, that's one thing. When you don't have the option and you feel stuck, right, and you see your children suffering and trying to thrive and survive, people like you make all the difference in the world. You do,
Thank you.
Do. Money is an issue. Folks are trying to figure out how they're going to make ends meet because unfortunately your zip code also determines how people treat you. Shouldn't be.
Yeah.
But it's the way that it happens. And so folks like you who, make it your mission in life, because this is now a life mission. You've been
it is 100%.
Bayo, Boys Latin, Girl Scouts. You've consistently stayed in that pattern, right? With working with young people and taking care of young people. Folks like you make all the difference in the world. So when I say we're all responsible, you are one of the people that shows up in the gap. We're gap fillers. to make sure that however we can support young people and their families, that's what we do. So I know you didn't come on the air for this, but thank you. Thank you.
Well, thank you. And you're part of the solution too by giving voice to families who may not otherwise be able to be heard, and for giving people like me and others the opportunity to share. You know, we've each got to do what we can, but you're right. It's time to stop, you know, just being upset or sad, and it's got to be action. There's got to be action to it.
Absolutely. Laverne Cheeseborough from on Facebook, she says, I use Children's Scholarship for my sons to attend private school. It's truly a blessing to have it as an option.
Yeah, Laverne, thank you. So glad to serve your family.
Yeah, so tell us again, one more time, how people can reach you, that the application process is open right now. Tell them everything again, please.
Yes. So Children's Scholarship Fund Philadelphia is now accepting applications for the 2023-24 school year. Believe it or not, we're already talking about that. So families who will have children in grades K through 8 beginning next September who meet our guidelines, which are 1, live in the city of Philadelphia, 2, meet our income guidelines, which are on our website at csfphiladelphia.org. Go to apply, and again, have children in those grades for next year should apply now, today, definitely before November 15th. The best chance of receiving a scholarship is to apply before November 15th, be in our priority lottery. You will find out in December, whether or not your family received a scholarship, and then we will support you in the process of choosing a school and enrolling.
Right. And tell them the best part, though, that once they enroll and get in the lottery, what happens?
Thank you. You're good for our marketing here. Yeah, so we're very excited to share, if you haven't heard, that while we've been a 4-year scholarship program, we are now a K-8 scholarship program, so families do not have to reapply. Once you have a scholarship for your child, up to 3 per family, then you have a scholarship through 8th grade. And I didn't mention, I know my time is limited, but we also have amazing outcomes that are on our website.
Ooh, let's talk about it. Yes.
I will tell you, our students are outperforming their peers in their K-8 setting academically. They are scoring at or above the national average in both math and reading, and that's not just comparing to Philadelphia or economically disadvantaged students, but that's all students. They're going to high schools of choice at a rate of 93%, so they're getting into the magnet schools, the private schools, the charter schools. They are also graduating high school on time at a rate of 98%. And we found that students in the class of 2019 went to college at a rate of 70%, and that's compared to 54% at the district that year. And just, Andrea, 28% of students nationally in the same income range went to college, whereas we're at 70%. So we have great program outcomes, and families join our program have the chance to have their children also achieve those outcomes. But that strong parenting that we know our parents have, you know, those sacrifices that families are making, because each family pays at least $500 per family, are going to result in those outcomes.
And the best part is that you create safe spaces for our children to thrive and grow, even while they're living in concrete jungles all around them. That's the best part, right? Because safety is important. When a child doesn't feel safe going to and from school or being in school, then they can't learn. They cannot learn. None of us can learn under fight or flight situations every day.
You have to feel safe, loved, wanted, cared for. And I have to say, all of those statistics I just read out are a testament to our partner schools. We get the students there, but then they achieve those outcomes.
Yes. And they have 160 partner schools, y'all. So it's not like you have a little bit of schools to choose from. You got a plethora. So go ahead and apply by November 15th. Go to csfphiladelphia.org for the guidelines. You must live in the city of Philadelphia, and you must meet the income guidelines, which is a lot more money than a lot of people would think. This is not PICO CAP program where you have to make $15,000 for a family of 105. This is a good income guideline that you can use, right? And if you apply by November 15th, you'll know by December 1st. Once you get in, you don't have to apply again for the full 8 years. Kindergarten, 9. kindergarten through 8 in the process. So that's good. Keisha Jordan, thank you. Anytime you want to come on, feel free to call. Okay?
So much. It was such a pleasure, and I appreciate you giving me an opportunity to talk today.
You're quite welcome. Have a good afternoon.
You as well.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. You are listening.